it.
Scene 9, shot 1, take 2.
Disturbance.
My name is Ben Traub and I'm the director for Disturbance. The story is about a girl called Leah who's just moved into her new home after just coming out of an abusive relationship with her past boyfriend. And yeah, she's moved into a new house, and then the day she moves in, she hears a disturbance from next door, and it sounds like an abusive relationship is happening. Obviously that's going to like replay in her head all her past trauma, and then the disturbance stops. She thinks nothing of it. She thinks it's probably her thinking about her old past. Her friend Charlie, he comes in the next day to help her move in properly. It's quite an awkward relationship between those two. Charlie wants more of a romantic thing in their relationship, whereas Leah doesn't at all. She sees it as just friends. They go out to the car to go and help her get some boxes out. This old woman suddenly appears and basically warns her about the house, saying, "Don't ever go in, you'll be trapped, just ignore everything to do with this haunted house," which is the house next door to Leah, which they ignore at first, and then the scene after, when they're having takeaway, again Charlie's trying to kind of hint at more of a romantic relationship, but Leah's having none of it. And then they hear disturbance again coming from next door, and Charlie wants to go and explore. Leah's very against that because she, one, wants to listen to the old woman, and because of her past relationship, she's going to be terrified to go into that kind of sort of setting again. And yeah, the story kind of just goes on from there, and how they eventually do end up exploring the house and meet their fate. So yeah, two of the characters, you've got the old woman who's just kind of almost like half possessed, kind of, because but this house gives off like around the whole area just like a scary and possessed setting, and she's there just to warn them. And then you've got Anthony Tate, who's the ghost of the house, who has previously abused all his past wives and girlfriends, and they all go missing, and he's been missing for the past 10-20 years, and he's been missing, and yeah, he's just a very abusive person and kind of wants to trap kind of similar victims to what he's done to his wife and girlfriends before. So look at him, man.
Yeah, it is peaking. It just, for some reason, it's staying in white.
Look at him, absolute warrior.
Then we're shooting 5.
Hello! How are you doing?
I'm doing good yourself.
Good to meet you in person.
And well,
Okay, how you doing?
I'm good yourself.
Not too bad. How was your journey?
Not too bad.
Where are you going from?
Guildford, wasn't it?
Yeah, fun.
Yeah. Did you drive? Did you get a train? Yeah.
Unfortunately, my car's broken.
So, this is Tom behind the camera, who's on behind the scenes. We've got Matt Givett, who's the writer. We've got Irving, who's the sound recordist.
Hello.
Then we've got Ethan, who's on clapper. And we've got Mayor Webb, who's in continuity. And we've got our boom and my shots. So,
And deep, obviously. We've got to get deep.
that's it, Deep.
I'll try and remember all the
No,
names,
you
but-
didn't, man. How dare you?
That's right, this is Deep, the most important person of this entire production.
I couldn't see him
No.
there.
Invisible.
You have a pen.
Are you ready then?
I'll give him the pen so he can pick it up.
He's got to put like E5 Actually, this is I think is our sound recordist. If you met that. Ollie's our lighting. Okay.
Hello.
And we've got Arj on the computer, who's beam operator. We've got Deep, who's our camera operator. And then we've got Ethan, who's our clapper. Mayor's our continuity, and then Tom doing the behind the scenes. So give him a wave.
So I'm Kane Applegate and I'm going to be playing the role of Charlie.
My name's Neve Cockkill and I'm playing Leah.
So, what was your first impression of the script when you first read it?
I actually really enjoyed it. I remember reading it and being like, I kind of want this one. Like usually when you read a script you're kind of like, I need to, I'm out of work so I need another role, but this one I was kind of like, I really want this one.
I really liked it. I thought it was really cool. Like I found it really interesting, and especially like it has like some deeper meaning, and I thought that was really interesting. And like as soon as I saw the script I was like, alright, I really want this part, like come on. It was really cool. I've always been interested in acting, like as far as I can remember.
So I started acting in school, but I took like a very long hiatus to pursue a working career, and then kind of sat at my desk being like, I don't want this to be me for the rest of my life. So went and put my feelers out into some auditions, got a role in a musical called The Wedding Singer, which was quite a lot of fun. And I would say I prefer theatre, but I think I'm moving towards more of a screen career.
Been doing like screen acting for about 1.5 years, 2 years, and just done a couple of films, some music videos, and did a little course where I did a couple, like, I don't know what they're called, like just segments of stuff. But yeah, I just really liked acting always and just want to get more into it really.
So yeah, the character I'm playing, Charlie Bedford, he's really like wanting to pursue kind of like a relationship with Leah. I think he's trying to be courageous and, you know, almost cunning in a way to, you know, trick her into liking him, I think, with this whole, let's go to this house, let's do this, and trying to put on his front. And I think he dropped hints during the film to try and like make that happen, but he's not very good at it.
Well, Leah has this troubled past where she had a bad previous relationship. So she moves into a new house and she has her friend Charlie who's kind of into her. She's not into him, but you know, a bit drama. But yeah, she moves into this house. Stuff goes down really, isn't it? Like, it all goes down, but yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, I've played characters that are kind of a bit awkward and a bit like, you know, maybe a bit boisterous and trying to push their agenda onto like another person, but nothing kind of like this.
Well, the last film I did was about like this 1920s film, and so I played this very like mentally ill character. So it was another like dramatic film, but it was very different in the character role. I think the story, I really liked it. I like the idea of her moving to a new house and then like the whole hearing noises and stuff. I thought that was really interesting.
So I quite liked the script. So I quite liked like the flow of the story. I quite liked how, you know, we start off and it's, you don't really know what's going on and you don't really know if there's anything supernatural going on, and then, you know, you hear these voices next door that could be anything, and then you look in, break into a house, there's nothing here, kind of thing. I enjoyed kind of how I pictured it in my head, and it's kind of turned out that way. So
I really liked when when like her and Charlie are like talking, and then Charlie's like, oh yeah, like I really liked it when like it was just us, and Leah's like, no. I thought that was really cool. I was like, yes, Leah, gotta stand your ground. I also really liked her relationship with Charlie. I think that's really interesting how like he's so like into her and she's just like, no, leave me alone, like in a nice way. I don't know, I thought it was really cool. I really liked it. Oh yeah, that was so weird. I have no idea where everyone went.
I like that night when it was just us.
Kane, he played Charlie, he captured the right kind of cocky, because he's meant to be a cocky character, but also quite nervous as well. He captures the perfect kind of like cocky horror character. And also, so when he's talking to Leah about wanting to, well, hinting at a kind of romantic standpoint in their relationship, he captures the awkwardness so well, like especially when they're going for a hug in that scene when they first meet. It's so awkward to watch, and he gets it perfectly. And Neve, she was amazing on playing Leah. She really captured the kind of emotional aspect that we wanted from Leah, how traumatized she really is, and she was just amazing. She really got it on point. And fully committed to the role as well. She got a bit of bruises along the way when running down the stairs, but fully committed. All of them were brilliant.
What the fuck?
Shit. And cut.
So we won't need you for the first bit. It's just
Okay.
Leah's outside going to the house, but after that we'll do the casting with you.
That's perfect.
I don't like when Jason just turns up.
So Kane, you've met the
Hello.
other day on Zoom. You've got Matt, again you've met before. We've got Deep, our camera operator. I've got Ethan, our clapper. Mayo, our continuity. Our job boom, and then Tom behind the scenes. So give it away.
It's Julie Izard Brown, and I'm playing the old woman. I've always liked being a showy person. I mean, I've done reenactments and stuff, and love dressing up, and I was in plays at school. Then family got in the way, and then after the family grew up, and I managed to find, when I was working in London, a college. It was sort of a little college, it wasn't a big college, and they were doing acting classes, and I was there transatlantic films for a few years, and I got a few extra jobs, and then I got a movie which was brilliant, only a small role, but I got that, and then a couple of short films. And I've been doing a bit of supporting artist work, but I'll be retiring in a couple of years, so then I'll have a lot more free time to act. I liked the character of the old woman, yeah. But the story was quite gripping too.
With Julie, the old woman, she again just looks perfect. But yeah, again, and her voice was just perfect. Sounds emotional. This is what she wanted from the script. Yeah, no, she was great.
Shot 1, take 2.
So, day 1 of shooting, which is all very, very fun. Starting with the first scene when Leah first arrives at the house. So far, so good. Clouds have been a bit temperamental, but you know that's the way it is. But no, so it's all looking good so far, and we've got a long day ahead of us. But I'm sure it's going to be great.
We've done the first shot, so not that far in. Going good so far, I think.
First scene pretty much well. First half of the scene pretty much done.
It's a little bit cold, but it's all good. A bit shaky, but it's all good.
Oh man, so I'm fine.
The back is all good. You don't need the back. That's the shot you want.
And that's the first time directing, which was pretty scary at first, not gonna lie. But no, I think we stormed through it. I think it's good because we had put together a strong crew, which really helped me. But yeah, no, I think it went okay from what I've seen. But yeah, no, first time it was good. Yeah, no, it's what I want to do for the future, that or cinematography. But director's kind of the main focus. You know, I loved it. I just love kind of making my vision come to life on set, and you know, after that as well. But no, it was good. It was really good. Again, thanks to my strong crew I had. It really helped me.
Yeah, like that. 2-3 seconds, and then walk off to where Tom is. When you open the boot, if you kind of then
I've always kind of wanted to direct a horror film, because I think horror films, the way you can play with that visually is just amazing. I think we've never really done for Orent. We've never really done anything like that before. It's kind of just been kind of like simple shots here and there. We've kind of done a thriller before with the Andersons, but yeah, that didn't really play off well because unfortunately the camera operating wasn't up to scratch on that. But no, I think just visually it's been a really fun film to play with, and the story as well. Like it's kind of it's a simple horror story, but I think just tying in kind of like abuse to it is quite a serious tone, and it's been explored before, of course it has, but I wanted to kind of play on that factor with the horror, and yeah, just visually have fun with it. Really is why.
And cut. Nice. Yeah, no, that was much better. That was really nice.
A Quiet Place and Hereditary, because A Quiet Place it relies all on sound, kind of like Pay on Your Fear, and that's kind of a big part we want to capture on this film is the use of sound to kind of like create that more tense atmosphere, kind of like slow build up sounds, which we're going to put into the edit. And Hereditary is a lot of empty space to kind of like convey suspicion and again tension, because you have one character on this side of the screen and then a load of empty dark corner space. The audience is going to think, oh, what is coming out there? And then you're going to go to this door. It'll be locked. Do that.
Yep.
And then run through here. Both of you run through, and then we'll go here, and then we'll do the rest of the work. But pretty much it's just that one big movement. So.
It's just the higher I go, if someone knocks into this kitchen.
We are about to film the scene where Kane's character Charlie walks up to the house for the first time. He's hearing strange noises, and and he looks through the window. There's loads of creepy shots, and it's really exciting because this is the first time that we get to see the actual 112 house in all its glory. The set is all dressed. It's great because we're now using lighting. We've got lovely kind of dusk lighting anyway, which is perfect. Got a cloud in the sky. And we're using a smoke machine later as well. It's all going to get a bit funky, but no, it's all very exciting and it's all going to plan so far. So lovely stuff.
Okay, stand by for a take.
Camera speed.
Sounds good.
Mark it.
Shot 1, take 1.
And action. And cut.
Day 2 of Disturbance. It's a night shoot tonight. Potentially could get a bit late. So yeah, no, we're picking up some of the scenes that we didn't manage to film the other night. So it's all mainly based inside in the house when Charlie and Leah are walking through. We've got some quite fun shots to be filming tonight, especially the end scene, which I think all the crew and cast are quite hyped for, because it's going to be like a great opportunity to get creative with camera work and lighting and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm Tom Fox and I'm playing Anthony Tate. Yeah, I started pursuing acting shortly after the pandemic started. I was just looking to pick up a new skill. Always sort of wanted to do it, and I thought, why not now, you know? And I've been doing it for about 2 years so far, mainly student films, you know, adverts, that sort of thing. Anthony Tate, he's really dark and mysterious, isn't he? He's really quite controlling, you know, like an abusive boyfriend. So it's a real nasty piece of work, you know. Yeah, I like the moments in the script where it's quite dark and you can't quite make out what's there, you know, like is someone in the window, who is it? It's just kind of really creepy and you're sort of on edge. I felt like it was the script mostly. I thought it was really good writing, really good setup. It's not like dragged out, it's nice, short and sweet. And you know, there's some ambiguity and mysteriousness around it, and I love that sort of thing. You know, I love my horror films, and yeah, it's just like something like that, you know.
So, who were you with? Come on, tell me. Who were you with?
And one more time.
So.
No, just his whole physically, he just looks the part. And his voice, because he was mostly just voice lines, and his voice lines were great. He sounds really menacing.
When I tell you to come back home, I expect you to come back home. Do I make myself crystal clear?
And he's only in 2 shots of the film. It's one where he's down here, behind the covered up furniture, and up when he appears at the end of the bathroom. And just his presence in his eyes, I think, just really, they're very menacing. He looks the part and did it really well. Like that, and you're standing kind of like just looking down at them.
Looking down there.
Yeah.
We've filmed all the nights, well, most of the night scenes in here. We've done all the exterior shots outside, which went well. Yeah, looking forward to Friday.
Cool. So is it a wrap?
Yeah, it's a wrap for today.
This is just orange.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is what happens when I crank up a little bit of white.
Scene 2, shot 9, take 1.
So we are day 3. We're struggling a little bit with the size of the room, but it is all working. But yeah, no, I think the main thing is that it's going to be moving everything around when we have to change directions and stuff. But so far so good.
Straight up there. So we need to get this lighting and all that stuff out. Pretty much. Action.
Sorry, I forgot you were coming over.
No worries, just thought you could do in the company.
Well, lots of the boxes to unpack, so you're in luck.
Action.
Swear that old lady has abandoned. Guess she really was crazy. It's okay. What the hell? Look, wait here, I'm gonna go check.
No, you mustn't!
Calm down, Leah, okay?
Charlie, you heard what that old lady said.
Leah, someone's screaming in there. Anything could be going down in there, alright? Imagine if it was you. You'd want someone to help.
I need you to help.
Kind of like go for a hug like that, and then if you just kind of move away, so it ends up being kind of more just like a pat.
Yeah.
Like that would be really good.
Can we practice that?
Yeah.
So I go for a hug.
So like you go for like a proper kind of oh hey. And yeah, literally perfect. That is perfect. Just kind of like, because that's where the humour comes from.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah, definitely do that. That's cool. My name's Matt Webb, and I am the writer and graphic designer for Disturbance. I've always loved graphic design. I've always been really interested in brand and logo design, but I think it's only really been kind of the past 5 years or so where it's really started to kind of take precedent in my life. And for a long time, I was all very fixated on music and doing music, but no, graphics for me, it is just so interesting about how you can just communicate through visuals.
Okay, literally, there, and then literally.
I find photography equally as interesting because you can kind of capture moments. I mean, I'm really quite new on photography. I was obviously being the graphic designer for Disturbance, it meant that I'm creating all the kind of promotional material that then will go on the social media and trying to get like all the posters done and stuff, and obviously a part of that is photography. And so originally I was just going to be taking pictures of the cast like for promotional imagery, and then that just turned into taking pictures of the crew doing what they do best. So yeah, I think it's really quite interesting just kind of capturing the moments, and also it's all memories as well. I really like communicating kind of the genre and the themes of a film through typography, and I think that's kind of why especially film title design in general is so interesting to me, because like, you know, you can try and really communicate like the mood and the story just through a couple of seconds of typography. I've been doing title design since Orent's very first short film, The Envelope, back about 2 years ago, and then I went on to do The Rose for them, and then The Andersons as well, and now Disturbance. I think with Disturbance, it was all about trying to get across this kind of creepy horror vibe that the story has, but equally it wanted to feel modern. You know, like with the rest of Orent's productions, all the logos feel quite old, kind of using serif typefaces and stuff. But with Disturbance, you know, it's all set in the present, and it's, you know, you've got young characters, and so it needs to feel modern, yet it needs to feel kind of a bit creepy. So that's kind of where the idea of having the actual type being disturbed came from, because there were kind of two major ideas. There was one that was all vertical to kind of reference the wall within the story that kind of runs throughout, and then the other was literally to disturb the type, and it feels contemporary, you know, it feels nice, but equally it feels really quite creepy. And the great thing is then, like, you can take, not only does it look great static, but it also moves in a really kind of dynamic way and really kind of references the kind of the psychological kind of horror vibes of the film. I think for me a standout piece of title design is something that can communicate the film and the genre of the film in a couple of seconds or a minute or so. I think if you manage to kind of do that by using kind of typography and motion design, you're onto a real kind of winner, really. Like, even sometimes, like, less is more in title design, you know, because there's some films where they really kind of go completely over the top, and then there's some films that are just really, really subtle, and I find that those are the most effective ones, definitely. Do you think, like, the sizing of that's alright?
Yeah, I quite like the empty space, because part of this film with the shots, you're meant to have a lot of empty space, so no one's going to get.
Well, that's the thing, like, I just want it to feel kind of a bit more contemporary.
Yeah.
People underestimate how a title of a film can really impact visually, like how pleasing that is for an audience. So, you look at Bond, for example. Everyone loves the Bond visual. They're like, "Oh, this is great," but if it just came up with 007, people would be like, "Oh, that's terrible." But when good graphics and title design comes up, people are like, "Oh, this is good," but they don't give enough credit. Now, from this, we really wanted something that's just going to capture Disturbance itself, and I think Matt's done a brilliant job with the title. It's subtle, but it captures the audience's eye, which is really what we want. And just the pale white and it fading in and out is just perfect, I think. So, yeah, we need more credit for the title designers and graphic designers.
So I use After Effects to actually animate it. The original logo's done in Illustrator, and then that's transferred into After Effects, and then it's all animated using kind of different like adjustment layers and filters and stuff in After Effects, and that's where the real fun comes in, because it's just kind of playing around until you have like a real good kind of understanding of what you're doing, and you know it feels right. With this title design, there's kind of a bit more kind of room to go a bit more crazy, you know. What with the other films, especially The Envelope and The Rose, where it is a very, very simple storyline and it's quite a short film, it's about 5 minutes or so, you don't want to go kind of overboard too much. And so they were literally just kind of pieces of typography. While then with the Andersons, you know, kind of a bit more of a story to it, and it was a little longer, which meant that you could still kind of do stuff, but equally you want to be subtle, you know. The great thing about Disturbance, with it being a longer film and it having kind of a few more layers to a story to it, it meant that we could really go a bit more kind of contemporary on it and a bit more kind of extreme. I mean, for me, I think a branding of a film is one of the most important features of a film. You know, like you've got the production and you've got the writing, and you know those are obviously incredibly important for the film to do well. But if it isn't for a brand and if it isn't for a logo, and to be honest, if it like not even, you know, even for a title design, if you don't have that, the film's not going to get out. You know, and so for me, like it's so important to have that strong kind of title design and motion design and a feeling like a brand to the film, because it just allows people to kind of experience it a little bit more, and especially those first few seconds of a film, you know, you're all kind of hyped up, you're not really sure what's going to happen in the film, and you have this title design and it really sets the mood for the film and kind of puts you into that world. So I think it's incredibly important.
My name is Daniel Finch and I'm the composer for Disturbance. Before Disturbance, I've worked on 3 projects for Orent. I've worked on the envelope, their logo sequence, and the rose. For my previous work, I've really focused on using real-world instrumentation, using instruments such as percussion or strings or flutes. Whereas I did use those in Disturbance, I approached them in a really electronic way by sampling them, using effects, lowering their volumes to create entirely new audio soundscapes. And using synthesizers was a great way of creating that electronic bass that Disturbance really needed. Well, for Disturbance I used a lot of synthesizers which I created from scratch. I find that really fun, designing a sound myself from the sound up. One of the more interesting sounds I created was I sampled one of the screams from the main character, ran it through a synthesizer, and created the screaming sound that you can hear in multiple scenes, especially the ones that the sounds from behind the wall or during the end of the track Intrigue.
What we've done with the envelope, the rose, with the 2 pieces that Dan has composed, they're very strings based, which is perfect for those 2 films, but for this we wanted something a lot different. We wanted a lot more kind of like electric kind of Ludwig, I can't pronounce his second name. He composes The Mandalorian. He's got a load of other stuff. He composed Tenet, and Tenet they use a lot of electronic, kind of like computerized instruments. We want to kind of capture that because I think it's kind of perfect for this film. You want it to be as creepy as possible. I think electric soundtrack is kind of the way to go on that. And we also took inspiration from The Dark Knight and The Winter Soldier. So when in The Winter Soldier they used Sebastian Stan's scream when he dies in the first film into the soundtrack, and what we want to do is incorporate the screams we've recorded of Tate abusing people into the soundtrack, so when there's a jump scare you will hear that scream along with the electric kind of bassy music. So that was kind of like our idea for the music. We planned this really early on because we want it to be quite an important factor for this film.
For each project I work on, I always try to focus on using at least one new effect and instrument. I really enjoy pushing certain aspects of sound to create a really nice feeling within the project. During the track from my soundtrack called Intrigue, that instrument is actually an organ, just processed really heavily. I used a load of distortion modules, reverb, different effects to create that sound. I feel it really helped drive the characters through that scene. Usually when starting a new project, like Disturbance, I focus on choosing instrumentation and what effects I would use for the project. This would help me create the best sound for the project. So for Disturbance, this was electronic, using effects, synthesizers, just lots of experimentation with audio to create that sound. Then I would pick a note or a selection of notes to base key ideas on, melodies or harmonies, to base the whole score around. Then I would focus on smaller ideas, stuff that would be behind the main melody. The main ideas, the key ideas, the stuff that the listener doesn't usually hear. That would create a thicker texture, more interesting overall as a sound. So during the chase scene at the end of the film, there was a deep croak, which was actually originally a violin, just pitched down. that you can hear underneath all of the loud action and music going on during that scene. And for the track 112 Belgrave Street, I really enjoyed creating that section. I focused on creating more of a wall of noise effect rather than focusing on specific instruments or ideas. That section included every instrument that I had used previously in the score, all played at once, sometimes with different effects or ideas, but that really propelled the running scene. I really enjoyed the credit scene, Unknown. I feel it created a really nice contrast between the aggressive nature of the rest of the film. It had a really nice ethereal tone that was very light, delicate, quite soft to listen to. My music software of choice is Logic Pro. The reason why I choose to use that one is because it has such a large variety in effects and instruments that come stock with the software, and I really enjoy using their synthesizers, such as Alchemy. As you can hear from the Disturbance soundtrack, it was very electronic, and I found using those effects that I'm comfortable with a really organic process to create the most effective score. The composers that have influenced me the most in my work have been Jeremy Soule for their work on The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, Murray Gold and Marcin Pasovich for their work on Cyberpunk 2077, Gwent and The Witcher 3. There's such a wide variety in musical ideas and experimentation within those three. I think going a really sound design approach is important for films like this. For a film like Disturbance, I feel it was really good to go for a sound design approach for this. Go for a really electronic, experimental feel. Because of this, it made the film a lot more interesting, a lot more focused on the weird events that are happening next door, or the intensity of the scenes. Really experimenting, creating new sounds that would be fascinating for the listener to hear. It's really important to create an overall sound for the project. Disturbance didn't really focus on melodies as such. It was just more noise, instrumentation.
With like string soundtrack music, it's very samey, it's very similar. But I think electric, you can just play around with it a lot more. And with horror, you want it to be kind of awkward and kind of like tense and almost got like a sick feeling. You want the music to sound sick, because in a horror film you want to physically feel sick and on edge. So I think that's why I want to go for that in this film.
I think it's really important that your sounds and your choice of instruments really draw the listener in, so they can focus on specific aspects of your music, or it really brings them into the film.
The music makes a film. It does. Like if we have, royalty-free music for a horror film, people aren't going to be interested because it's not going to sound right. I mean, obviously, of course there's going to be issues. There's always going to be issues on a film set. I mean, I can't remember any specifics, but like we're going to be on set time and time again. We're going to learn from these mistakes from before. So yeah, any mistake, we're going to look back at the footage. There'll be some mistakes we've made. We'll be like, right, we'll learn that for next time. Because you look at like how far we've come from the Bible Project and the Envelope as our first few projects to now. You look at how far we've come, like, continuity-wise, visually. We'd learn as we go along. That's as much as I can explain it. Just go learn from it each time. We're not the finished article now. Like we're still learning a lot. Like we've so much more to catch up on. This is our fourth film we've done. There's so many more things we can learn, especially like for me personally. Of course, there's things on set I should have done better. I could have directed this away a bit better. I could have, for example, spoke to my sound team more. Of course, there's going to be some stuff I need to learn. It's just, again, we're going to be on set again and again and again for the rest of our lives, and I'm going to just learn through that, really. So yeah, I just got to have this like tunnel vision of just trying to learn as much as I can, really.
Scene 2, shot 4, take 1.
And action.
After filming, like, what are you most proud of in the production?
Everything, really. The whole experience of making it has just been amazing. I think the actors, perfect. On set, everything went smoothly. Obviously, a few problems here and there, but that's natural. Just everything about it, I think I've just loved. It's been great. I've loved every part of it. They, I think, in my opinion, were some of the best actors we've had when working with Orent. I think they just got the characters straight away, which was great. And yeah, there's just their acting skills were just some of the best we've had, I think. And yeah, and the crew as well. The crew made it. We just put together such a strong crew. It all went well. All of them professional, all worked hard. It was just, it was a nice set and experience to be on.
Cool. Right. What? No, it's a wrap. Cool. All right. Thank you guys. First and foremost, we thank Kane and Neve. Great job they did. And the rest of the crew as well. You guys were brilliant. Okay, clap for Arj as he's not here. Thank you. All really, really good. All did a fab job. I hope it all turns out well on post. Thank you. It was a really pleasure to work with you all. Let's do it again sometime soon. So.